Hello everybody, Testele. I hope all of you are healthy and happy. Beginning of our Dharma class. First, everybody have a great rejoicement yourself. Rejoice yourself to have the important opportunity to study Dharma, to study Mahayana teaching, particularly the profound view, which is emptiness. And this time, on this planet, we have 7.5 billion human beings. Among the 7.5 billion, how many people have the opportunity to practice Dharma, to control our own negative thoughts? Among the 7.5 billion people, how many people have the opportunity to practice the Dharma, to generate great compassion towards all sentient beings, particularly who have this opportunity to study emptiness, to get rid of the root of the samsara and cause to achieve liberation. There are very small number of people who have this opportunity. We are one of them. First, have a strong rejoicement yourself. Then second, everybody asks a question, which is very important question. Why I need to study Dharma? Why I need to practice bodhicitta? Why I need to realize emptiness? Then the answer for the first question, why we need to practice Dharma? Because we want happiness. We don't want suffering. Therefore, we need to practice Dharma. This means all the Dharmas practice only, solely for achieving happiness, reducing suffering. Then the second, why I need to cultivate bodhicitta? Because I want to benefit all sentient beings. I always wish all sentient beings free from suffering and cause of suffering. How we can do it? If I become Buddha, then I have the opportunity, I will have the ability to benefit all sentient beings. Therefore, I need to practice bodhicitta. If I only practice bodhicitta, I cannot be a Buddha. I cannot eliminate the innate, the subtlest ignorance with the mental imprints. Therefore, third, I need to realize emptiness to remove the actual cause of the samsara, cause of the suffering. Means is now it becomes very simple in our daily life. First, we do general dharma practice. Second, very particular practice bodhicitta. Third, most important, profound, we need to realize emptiness. Then we can be free from suffering. We can achieve Buddhahood. We can benefit all sentient beings, all human beings. Also now we talk a little bit about practicing Dharma. In the past, many countries, many nations, many education institutes, they did totally ignore inner peace, inner happiness, the positive thoughts, practicing compassion. Now this day, many of the countries, nations, institutes, now they realize inner peace, peace of mind, positive minds, compassion, kindness, tolerance are very important for our daily life. Therefore, yearly we celebrate, World Peace, like Peace Day, Environmental Day. We celebrate so many important kind of events. But during the celebration time, the speaker just speak about how compassion, kindness, tolerance, inner peace, happiness, how much important. Then next day, everybody, don't really apply I'm not saying dharma, they don't apply important means to bring inner happiness. So if I ask you a question, since we believe in dharma, since we practice dharma, we always think about peace and happiness. Also, all the teachers, all the masters, they always talk about happiness, liberation, inner peace. But what is mean peace? What does mean happiness? How we can get it? Then there are so many, ideas. What does mean happiness? What does mean inner peace? According to Buddha teaching, happiness, peace, inner peace is only we can develop within our mind. The happiness is not the external phenomena. Happiness is not the material things, we can buy, we can control through the external condition. No, the peace, happiness is we need to develop within our mind. Therefore, all the Buddha teachings, aimed to achieve happiness, the inner happiness. When we have an inner happiness, we can live happily with the different, very difficult conditions, weather condition, health condition, economic condition, what's kind of, bad condition on us. Still we can live peacefully, happily. It doesn't mean we ignore the external sufferings. Yes, we are aware there's a suffering, there's a problem, there's a lot of problem around us, but the problem never cannot reduce your happiness, because your happiness is just part of your mind, which is transformed into positive mental state. Therefore, we don't just talk about peace and happiness. We don't just only talk about bodhicitta, great compassion, tolerance, emptiness. We seriously need to put effort to achieve happiness, inner happiness, ultimate happiness. Then how we can achieve the inner ultimate happiness? The answer is very simple. It's very simple. Control our negative thoughts. Control our negative thoughts. Try to transform all the external, the negativity to cause, to generate, develop inner happiness. Then you can remember what are the, what the 8 verses for mind training tell us, how to transform, or the 7-point mind training. Already, we studied how to transform the negativity to cause, to transform into the path. Therefore, how to achieve happiness, how I can be happy all the time, control our negative thoughts. Now, how to control? All the advice, all the means, methods taught by Buddha, the rest of the Buddhist master, we apply according to the individual negative thoughts. That means first we need to practice the Dharma in general to generate happiness, control all the negativity, external negativity, the inner negativities. The second, we need to focus on generating bodhicitta. Also, it's simple, but we believe it's so difficult to generating bodhicitta, cultivating bodhicitta. If we don't really be serious about practicing bodhicitta, cultivating bodhicitta, then the practicing and cultivating bodhicitta always there as difficult. First, we have to go through a practice. At the beginning, yes, feel difficult, put effort continuously, then slowly it's become, a lot more easy. That means just think, have a thought, have a mind. The mind think, I wish to be Buddha, to benefit all sentient beings. I always wish to benefit all sentient beings without exception, particularly your enemy, particularly the annoying person. Then we must have the thoughts, wish to be Buddha, to benefit all sentient beings. That means how we generate bodhicitta. Third, then how we can achieve liberation. How ourselves can be liberated. Again, very simple answer. If you seriously wish to achieve liberation, wish to free from the root of suffering, then need to realize emptiness. When we realize emptiness, we have one particular profound wisdom to seize or perceive the emptiness. Then the wisdom which is realize emptiness, then the innate ignorance, these two minds become totally opposite, like enemy and friends, total opposite. The wisdom realize things around us merely established through our thoughts. That the ignorance perceives things around us exists established independently, inherently. Wisdom realize everything empty of independent. That means the wisdom and ignorance both looking at a single phenomena, both looking at a single, just one phenomena. Both of them can seize the phenomena, but they have a different perceived. For the ignorance, the objects look like independent object. But the wisdom perceive the phenomena is lack of independent entity or empty of independent existence. That means you can see these two minds totally opposite, like anger and compassion. And let's say you have an anger, your friend have a compassion towards one person. You are very angry, you have a strong anger, and your friend has a very great compassion towards one person. But when you and your friend both of together, looking at a person, both of you are looking at just one person, but the one person is become true. For the compassionate person, a person is very loving, kindness, good person. For you, the person is very annoying, very bad person. But the person is just one. But the anger and compassion has a different aspect, different kind of manifestation of the person. Therefore, the lust for achieving liberation, free from the root of the samsara, then we have to realize emptiness. We must. Because this morning I was reading one of the Tantrayana teaching written by Aryadeva. And there's a Q&A between Buddha and one disciple. First, the disciple asked the Buddha, what does mean the ultimate is the perfect? Then the Buddha said, ultimate mean the perfect phenomena mean there's no duality. Then what does mean there's no duality? Then the Buddha answered, when we realize emptiness, the emptiness we perceive, how we perceive, how the emptiness exists is same thing. The rest of the phenomena, all the conventional phenomena, perceive how they perceive to us, appear to us, how they exist. There's always duality. Then, last they ask, then how we should realize, how we should understood the truth nature of phenomena. Then the Buddha answered, we need to realize the true truth equally, unanimally. Then there's no more deception. Mean, when we perceive the conventional phenomena, we can see, we can perceive, we can feel, but we need to remember those are appear to us as a independent phenomena. In the reality, all of them empty of independent existence. Then last Buddha said, doesn't matter how long, the millions of years you practice Dharma without realizing emptiness, there's no way you can be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. There's no way you can achieve liberation. Therefore, every day we must think, how I can realize emptiness? How? Ask this question every day. Then I mentioned many times, of course, we need to read, the stillness like teaching, like entering the middle way, then eliminating the intent. We need to read those books, but we don't need to read many books. Like just follow the root text and commentary. Then there's four schools, four philosophical school. We follow the Madhyamaka. Within the Madhyamaka schools, there are two subdivisions. Pasangika, the finest and the highest one, and the below is the Swatantika. Then the Swatantika is the Sanskrit trend. What does it mean? They didn't translate in English, they say autonomous. Mean, then we already studied that. What does mean the true existence? How the ignorance grabs the true existence. So before Lama Tsongkhapa, before he explained the Pasangika, he briefly explained the view of innate ignorance, view of emptiness, view of how things establish according to the Swatantika, according to the autonomous school. Here, between Pasangika and the Swatantika, there's a very subtle difference about the negation, how things exist. According to Swatantika, all phenomena exist with the two conditions. One is established by power of our, power of the mind, and exists by their own side. Means half is half from the the object side, half from the subject side. A subject establishes the phenomena. In order to establish the phenomena as a book, the book must have a one, unique kind of entity, unique kind of quality to be a book. Therefore, two come together, then they, according to then establish a book, house, car, whatever. According to Pasangika, the book is merely designated phenomena, merely designated. There's not any unique quality from the book, be a book. So today we study very precisely, also like slowly about the Pasangika view. Therefore, always remember the three things. I need to practice Dharma because I want happiness. I don't want suffering. I want to practice. I don't want others be suffer. Second, I need to practice bodhicitta because I want to be Buddha. I want to benefit all sentient beings. Then between here, you must remember what is the connection between me and all sentient beings. So why I need to think about all sentient beings? Why I need to think about all human beings? What the connection, me and all sentient beings, me and all human beings? Then remember, the seven cause and effect of generating bodhicitta. Then the first three become cause. The last three became like a result and great compassion in between. In order to generate great compassion, the first three steps we need to remember. After we generated great compassion, then the loving kindness, then the enthusiastic, the mind, bodhicitta will arise. Therefore, great compassion is a very crucial part to generate bodhicitta. In order to generate bodhicitta, then remember the first three steps. Therefore, I need to practice bodhicitta because I want to be Buddha. Third, yes, I want to be Buddha, therefore I need to practice bodhicitta. Also, when I need to practice emptiness as well. Without practice emptiness, I cannot eliminate, I cannot get rid of the root of the samsara, which is ignorance, which is the innate ignorance. Therefore, in our daily life, we have a three practice. General dharma practice, particular bodhicitta, very particular the profound part, which is reflect on emptiness. Therefore, all the Buddha teachings, advice, practicings only for develop inner peace and happiness. But inner peace and happiness we can achieve through applying the antidotes, each of the negative thoughts. All the negative thoughts look like sickness. We have a million, thousands types of medicines because we have 1,000 types of sickness. Therefore, we have 1,000 types of negative emotions, that we need 1,000 types of antidotes. Therefore, make sure what antidotes we need to apply to reduce anger, attachment, ego, so and so. Therefore, look at, practicing Dharma looks very simple, but we ourselves think it's so difficult. Okay, so now we start the Asangika, page number 181. So also, next few days, please you read about the Sotantika view. You read, very slowly and just try to understand the meaning. Then, when you study about the Pasangika point of view, for you, you can see, oh, there's such a difference between these two schools. Therefore, at the beginning, identifying, grasping a true existence according to Pasangika, Madhyamaka standpoints. If one understands how, according to this system, phenomena are posited through mere conceptualization, one can easily recognize how its opposite would constitute grasping a true existence. The first line, look at, if one understands how, according to this system, phenomena are posited through mere conceptualization. Therefore, first step, we need to know how all phenomena are posited, established, through mere conceptualization. Mean how phenomena around us posited, established through the thoughts, through the mind. The conceptual mind is very particular, thoughts. You don't understand simple thing, the things around me, everything merely established through power of my own thoughts, power of thoughts. That means things established through, very particular conceptual thoughts. The thoughts have a concept, then they designated something. Like right now, most of us using a laptop, like a mobile. Let's say laptop. 100 years ago, there wasn't laptop. They didn't have any concept of laptop. First, there's a computer. How, computer established? First, there may be, few people work together to do something. Finally, they have a, particular design, have particular function. They name the phenomena, say, computer. After computer, then we have a laptop. Therefore, you can see things established through, power of conceptualization, through the power of particular thoughts. Like Singapore, I said many times, let's say 1,000 years ago, there was, when we are lived right now, we go Singapore or Singapore, it was just, I think, maybe empty island between Indonesia and Malaysia, simple island, maybe living, different kinds of creature, no human being. That time that this land wasn't Singapore, piece of land, piece of island. Then somebody came and used to live in this island. Somehow, then they established this piece of land, the small tiny island, say Singapore or Singapurese. Then you can see Singapore means is established by, power of conceptualization, power of thoughts. Therefore, first step we need to know, we must know phenomena are posited through the mere only conceptualization. If one understands how, according to this system, Pasangika tradition, how phenomena are posited through mere conceptualization. Step number one. Then we have a kind of little understanding how things establish merely conceptualization. One can then easily recognize how its opposite, mean not established and not posited through the conceptualization, would constitute grasping at true existence. Again, we can have two thoughts. One thought thinking things are posited by my own thoughts. Then we have another kinds of thoughts. Things around me, not really merely established, merely conceptualization. Things around me exist by their own right, own modes. But there's a two. There's now, when we understand, one can then easily recognize how its opposite would constitute grasping at true existence. Now there's two parts. This presentation has two parts. How phenomena are posited through conceptualization. First he said, how phenomena are posited through conceptualization, and then presenting, grasping a true existence, the contrary apprehension, the opposite apprehension, the mind which is grasps the opposite, which is not established by merely thoughts, then this is ignorance. Now, how we going to know how phenomena are posited through the conceptualization? Then I ask you to memorize. I hope some of you already memorized the stanza from the question of Upali states. The flowers with their open petals, they delight so many minds. The spring gold machines, resplendent and attractive. None of this has creator. When you look at the beautiful flower, when we look at the beautiful house, yes, we must accept the flower is beautiful, the house is beautiful, the car is nice, the person is nice. We must accept. We believe also we must accept. But the beautiness of the house, the beautiness of the car, whatever, is not there's an externally creator who create these beautiful things. That means when you say this is so beautiful, then the beautiness is created by your own thoughts. Your own thoughts. When we say, oh, this thing, these phenomena are very ugly, then the ugliness is not created by external creator. It's created by our own thoughts, our own conceptual thoughts. None of this has creator. They are posited through the power of conception. Through conceptualization, the world is imputed. Please memorize this stanza. Then before you reflect on, how things posit to manpower, then follow this stanza and reflect on how things is, posited through the conceptualization. Then there's another phrase. Thus phenomena are thought to be posited through the power of conceptualization. On many other, look at first sentence, phenomena are thought to be posited through the power of conceptualization. On many other occasions, phenomena are described as a mere imputation of thoughts and posited by the virtues of the power of conceptualization. That means those are exactly the meaning is same. Posited through the power of conceptualization and mere imputation of the thoughts, or posited by the virtues of the power of conceptualization. Those are the meaning is exactly same. Also, this stanza you can remember, the analogy, the musician and the elephant and horse. Remember, three types of person or people who are watching the musician, horse, and elephant. The musician realized whatever appeared to him, the elephant or horse, he knew is merely due to the mistaken or the affected mind. Then there's some of the people who are watching from the audience, they didn't know. All of them appeared to him as an elephant or horse due to their affected mind. Then the 60 stanza of reasoning, it says by Nagarjuna, the Buddha has stated that the world is conditioned by ignorance. Conditioned by ignorance. So why would it be unreasonable to say this world is a product of conceptualization? Right? Buddha said that the world is conditioned by ignorance. Conditioned by ignorance means things around us actually is, for us, everything is independent phenomena. How we have this kind of conception, how we can have this kind of belief? Because conditioned by ignorance. So why would it be unreasonable to say this world is a product of conceptualization? I mean, everything, product of conceptualization. It doesn't mean the conceptualization, really met the table and chair and house. Yes, there are so many people who met, who build the house, who build the car, who made the car, but when they're all things put together, then there's a thoughts. Somebody has a thoughts, or many people thoughts come together, then designated this thing, car, oh, this is this house. For example, you can see in Singapore, it's very common every month, every week, every year, you can see before they build, like a building, like condominium, they made the picture, then they already named the building. Right? That means people come together, they thought we should build a building in this area. What should be the name? What the name should be? Like a city square mall. Then city square residence. That means things come together, they become something, then the thing become statistical residence. The thing become as a resident or a name of particular because of the thoughts. Therefore, you should not think this world is product of the conceptualization. Mean actually the mind, made everything. In the other hand, you can think, whatever we have. For example, look at this marker pen. The color, the body is like a green. Then the top is black. Then inside there, so the ink actually is produced by person, produced by people. How the people produce this? This must be black. Is this color? How? Then the person think about. They think for quite a long time. Then they produce the color, different shape, house, car, whatever. Right? Also, we can think everything actually produced by thoughts. That means all the product around us is a production of conceptualization. The commentary explains these verses to mean that the world is a mere conceptual imputation and does not exist in its own right. So this kind of line is very short, line, easy to memorize. Everybody must memorize to understand the meaning. If you don't memorize, very particular verses, particular line, after you close your book, it doesn't look like you close your mind. You don't understand anything. You don't remember anything. So when you memorize the line, after you close your book, you chant the line or stanza, then you remember the meaning quite well. Then you repeat few times, reflect on it, you will remember, you will know the actual meaning very well. Therefore, it is so important to memorize. And also many of you think, oh, memorization is so difficult, I cannot. You try seriously few weeks, few months. Then you can have kind of, habit. You can have the habit able to memorize. But at the beginning, we already give up. We say, we cannot, so difficult. Actually not. Please memorize. The stanza said, the commentary explained these verses to mean that the world is a mere conceptual imputation, does not exist in its own right. Then again, Aryadeva 400 stanza also says, if without conceptualization, attachment, so on, do not exist at all. What intelligent person would grasp something perfectly real and as conception? In its, then there's a commentary. First look at the sentence, first line. If without conceptualization, attachment, and so on does not exist at all. If without conceptualization, then there's no attachment, there's no anger, there's no ego. That means also should not think, oh, without mind, of course, there are no attachment, no anger. This is not the meaning. Here, just you think, attachment towards, like a human being, How we start to attach to someone. How? Also, the attachment, the idea to attach to the attachment, attach to the object, can be changed according to different countries. First, we think how I attach to someone. First time, when you meet someone at the first time, I don't think suddenly you have a source, attachment. First you meet somebody, they have a chit-chat, then leave, then you become friend. Then while you are, being a friend, then slowly you build attachment towards someone. Or he or she ought to build attachment towards you. Then how they build attachment towards someone? How? And then first we can see someone as a just simple human being, neither ugly nor beautiful, just human being. That somehow our own misunderstanding, misperception, we add particular quality which is not real. Then we add more good quality also which is not real. Then all the quality which we add based on our conception, our conceptualization, then the attachment becomes so strong, so attached, right? That means now you can see the attachment to someone, something we built, we have, based on our conception. First, simple conception, which is human being. Human being. Being a human is not the actual, cause to have an attachment, but we add, we top up more quality, all the qualities we add on the person, add on the phenomena. Those are actually not true nor real. It's based on our thoughts. Now you can see without conceptualization, no attachment, so on at all, do not exist at all. Then what intelligent person would grasp? Something as perfectly real and as conception. So if you know, the things, something appear to me as an ugliness, yes, it is actually my own perception or my own concept. Right? Then look like when beautiful thing appear to you, for you, you look like illusion. Ugliness appear to you, for you, you look like a dream. When we realize whatever appeared to us, perceived to us, is look like illusion, dream, then no attachment, no anger, no ego, no hatred. But for us, whatever appeared to us, beautiful object appeared to us, we think actually is a real beauty from their own side. The ugliness, appears to us, perceived to us. For us, the ugliness is ugly from their own right, from their own modes. So we are confused between, how it is really exists, how we impute. We confuse between these two. Therefore, first we need to learn everything inputted by our own conceptualization. Right? Therefore, the Buddha said here, what intelligent person would grasp something as perfectly real and as conception. In its commentary to one reads, those things that exist only because of the presence of conceptualization and have no existence, and there's no conception or without doubt, like a snake conceived upon a coil rope, definitely not established in their own rights. the first line here, those things that exist only because of the presence of conceptualization and have not exist when there is no conception. That means things there because of the conceptualization. No conceptualization, there's a nothing. Like the snake conceived upon the coiled rope, definitely not established in their own right. Now think about, there's the coiled rope with the multicolor, look like snake. So we thought we analyze when we see this, the coiled rope, suddenly we feel there's a snake. We scared. We scared, right? We scared. Now we must realize how we have a scary mind. Why we scared? Because there's a snake. There's a snake. Then we already have the conception, there's a snake. Snake, right? That means the concept of snake, the feeling of scare, everything we have because of the misperception about the coil rope. At the beginning, we didn't think there's a snake. We didn't think, and there's no scary. There's no, like a scare about. There's no real sense of scary. That means everything look like inputted snake on the coil rope. Clear? Please don't forget this line. Something exists in its own rights. If look at now here, the first I will read one more. Those things then exist only because of presence of conceptualization. They have no existence when there's no conceptualization. Or, without doubt, say here, Amazon said, without doubt, like the snake conceived upon a coil rope, definitely not established in their own rights. So think about when we think there's a snake based on the coil rope, the snake, we have the concept of snake, it's just based on the coil rope. Perfectly real means something exists in its own right. And conceptualization arises in relation to it. Right? Perfect real means something exists in its own right, and the conceptualization arises in relation to it. The statement in this commentary about how attachment and so on are like imputation of the snake upon a rope merely presents them as example. The statement, in fact, the statement in fact shows how all phenomena are posited by conceptualization, just like a snake conceived on the basis of the rope. First, you need to remember this line. Things, exist, established, merely conceptualization. Like, we inputted a coil rope as a snake. That means when you analyze, when you go closer to the snake, or you believe there's snake, then finally you notice, oh, there's not really snake. Any parts of the rope are not snake. Under the rope, there's no snake. Above the rope, there's no snake. Right? No snake. Analogy. That means now you can see this one, marker pen. We must accept, we believe this is a marker pen. But for us, the marker pen mean is exist by their own rights, own modes. If it is true, then when you look more closer, open the lid. There's a body part in, out. That means now you can see there's no such a thing which is exists, its own right, own modes, like a coil snake. Right? Now, next, the more difficulty will come here. For instance, when a rope that looked like a snake, because of its multicolored pattern and the manner in which it is coiled in contact in a poorly lit area, the thought this is snake. Now you can see how we have the misunderstanding or the coil of a snake. There's a multicolored pattern. Then the shape is look like coil. Then the timing may be like a late evening, poorly lit area. There's no enough light. Then we have a thought. There's a snake. There's a snake. Here I will tell you a very, very funny story. So we in TBC, we have a lady who comes, I think, 3 days a week to take care of the office. So she came on the Good Friday morning. I was reading book behind. I heard somebody is coming. I thought nobody is coming because it's a Good Friday. Then finally she, came to the office. Then I asked, why do you come here? But it's holiday. She said, yeah, today I have to come for the half day. Means like, so, maybe 9, 10, 11, 12, she can leave 1 p.m. Then I said, okay, you work in the office. Then I read books. Then I went for lunch. Then I took a nap. I sleep for, I think, 1 hour. Then I come down. It's already 3 p.m. I saw the office light is still on. I thought, oh, she's supposed to leave, but she's still there. Then I went there. Hey, why you didn't leave? It's already 3. Then she said, oh, there's a lizard. There's a lizard around the coffee, the Xerox machine. I think she saw there's a lizard is moving maybe around 12 o'clock. There's a lizard. So once she saw the lizard, she thought the lizard is always, around the door. So she could not leave. She's so scared the lizard. So therefore she stayed in office until 3:30, until I came down. Because she believed, she saw one time, right? So one time, since almost 3 hours, she stayed in the office. She didn't go out of office. Imagine how she, have the kind of understanding. Therefore, we don't analyze. We always believe that like that. So she, she could check. She can see far away, make sure the lizard is still there or not. She could leave, or she can go toilet. Therefore, since she saw the lizard one time, just running from the door to the Xerox machine, she was saying, there's a lizard. It's very funny, right? Therefore, how we, imputed things to our own minds. Now for here, look at their thoughts. The thought, there's a snake. The snake. Then exactly we can say there's a beautiful, there's a ugliness, there's a good, this is bad, this is tasty, this is, powerful things. We have so many different kinds of conceptions. everything all the conception we have, good and bad, nice and ugly, delicious and powerful, whatever, is just based on our own conceptualization. No more difficult and important is here. Next sentence. There's a snake. May arise at that moment. There's no, slightest objective basis on the part of the rope. The person believe there's a snake. May arise at that moment. At that moment, when the people think there's a snake, people think at that moment, there's not the slightest objective basis on the part of the rope. When you think there's a snake, at that moment, there's no snake, any parts of the rope, anywhere around there. The person still believes there's a snake. Objective basis on the part of the rope, either in the aggregates or in parts. All the rope together, there are no snakes. Any parts of the rope, there's no snake. That can be identified as an instance of a snake. Therefore, this snake is a mere conceptual imputation. Conceptual imputation. Now is the analogy. Now next, similarly, when the thought I am, right? First remember the coil rope as a snake. And that moment, there's no slightest objective basis on the part of the rope, either in the aggregate or its parts. That can be identified as an instance of snake. Therefore, this snake is a mere conceptual imputation. It's an analogy. Similarly, when the thoughts, I am, now we think, I'm a monk, I'm a teacher, I'm a student. We have a thought, I am. That means the thoughts look like there's a snake. I, me, self look like the coil, like a snake on the coil rope. Then somebody think there's a snake. Similarly, we have the thoughts, I am, me, I, me, I am. We have a thoughts. The thoughts perceive I am, thoughts, I am. Then how the I am arise? Arise in dependence upon aggregates. Arise independence upon aggregates. There's no ever the slightest basis on the parts of the aggregates, whether it's a collection of the earlier and later continuum or as collection of the simultaneous vector and part. They can be posited as an instant of this I. How I arise? Arise independence upon aggregates. Independent, or when we say I am, the thoughts perceive I. The I look like independent upon aggregates. And that moment, now we can say there's no even the slightest basis on the part of the aggregates, whether as a collection of the earlier, maybe early part of me or I, or later continue, or as collection of simultaneous vector and part, they can be posited as an instance of this I. This will be explained more extensively below. For this reason, and because there's not even a slightest entity that is distinct from aggregates, whether in terms of their parts or their barrier. So this is a very new word for us. Usually we say part and whole. Traditional use parts or their barrier. That can be taken to be the basis of the I. So this is I is posited through the mere conception, independent upon aggregates. It has no existence its own right. This is started in the precious garland as well. Now the snake, I, me, self are look like the snake based on the rope. Then somebody have a thoughts, say there's a snake. Similarly, we have a thoughts, I am, me. We have a thoughts. The thoughts precede I as a independent eyes, without depending on the five aggregates. Like somebody think there's a snake. The person perceive something as a snake as a independently. When the person approach closer to the snake as a snake, then he look around, there's no snake. He look all parts of the rope, there's no snake. Likewise, when we have a thought, I am, me, then when we analyze how me and I exist apart, apart independently or not, then we analyze without the aggregates. There's no such as I. The I, me, self, merely inputted phenomena based on the aggregates. This is the analogy and the actual meaning. It posited through the mere conception, independence upon the aggregates. It has no existence its own right. That means I never exists its own right. The I merely exists dependent on five aggregates. Like a snake, somebody saw a snake, he or she sees snake based on the coil rope. When he or she closely analyzes the snake, then they notice there's no snake. Any parts of the rope, no snake. Any of the five aggregates are not me. Then without the rope, the coil rope, multicolored coil rope, the person cannot see there's a snake. Therefore, without five aggregates, also, we cannot really perceive as a me or I or he or she. Now, precious garland as well, the individual refer to me or I, human sentient being, individual. Individual is not either or the water. No, individual is not the earth or water. He is not the fire, not the wind, not space. He is not the consciousness. So if he is not all this, where then is the individual apart from this? Right? That means based on the five aggregates, particularly based on the form. So the person exists depend on the form. That means I or me or self is not the water, nor fire, nor space, is not the consciousness. So if there's not all this, where then is the individual apart from this? That means I am or me, sentient being, human being, Buddha, Bodhisattva are merely designated based on five aggregates. Each of the five aggregates are not me, I, sentient being, human being. Now we are studying based on our own I, not each of the five aggregates, not form. Within the form, no water, no earth, no fire, no air, no consciousness, no space. But apart from them, apart from water, there's no body. Apart from fire, there's no body. Without body, there's no such as human being. Right? Therefore, all these quotations mainly introduce us everything inputted phenomena, inputted by conceptual thoughts. Individual, where then is the individual apart from this? Here, now these 4 lines divide into 2. Here, individual is the person. Now you can see person or sentient being, the I or the self. It said the, right? Individual is person, the sentient beings, the I or the self, not the earth and so on up to no, not the consciousness. Refute the postulation of the 6 elements of the sentient being, which are his part, is constituting the person while not all this. Negate the postulating some of these elements as a person. And the final line is where then it is the individual apart from this. The final line refute the postulating something that is the different entity from these elements as the person. That means each of the 5 aggregates, particularly each of the 4 elements, 6 elements are not the person. And the collection of the 5 aggregates, the collection of the 6 elements are not person. Still, we are not negating, we are not denying there's no I, there's no person, there's no sense. We are not denying there's a person, there's a sentient beings, there's a Buddha and Bodhisattvas, but all of them merely inputted phenomena, input by power of conceptualization. Clear? Now we move next sentence. From the elements. Nevertheless, it is not the case that one does not accept the existence of the person at all. No, yeah, we accept. The case that one does not accept the existence of the person at all, nor does one accept foundation, consciousness, and so on. That means we are not, denying the person, sentient being, I. No, we accept it. We accept. Also, when we accept I, sentient being, human being, Buddha, also we are not accepting here, not does one accept foundation consciousness, mean all basis mind, according to Chitta Mantra. So for them, person, human being, mean the very particular consciousness. Isn't it? All foundation consciousness is the person. So also we don't accept the foundation consciousness as a person. Also we don't denying person. We denying independent person. We establish merely imputed person, inputted by the conceptualization based on the 5 aggregates. If one understands how the person is posited through the conception like this, then one will understand how all other phenomena are posited through conceptualization and exist exactly the same way. Therefore, first, like the next few weeks, you really need to study how I, me, exist. Just study about, how I exist. The I exist merely inputted by the conceptualization, or I, me, exist independently, or I am maybe one of the part. I will be one of the 6 elements you can think about. After you think a few weeks after, then you will realize, oh, I, me, sentient being, human being, particularly I, you just reflect by your own I. I am mean I am me, merely inputted. How inputted? Inputted on the 5 aggregates. Who inputted? Who does input it? Conceptualization. That means you're going to realize I, me, merely inputted phenomena. Then the same idea you can apply rest of the phenomenon. Very easy. Therefore, first, few weeks, few months, you try to, you study, how I, yourself, I, me exist. Based on this quotation, this commentary. And he said very clearly here, one will understand how if one understands how the person is posited through the conception like this, one will understand how all other phenomena are posited through conceptualization in exactly the same way. Same way. Then the king of the meditation sutra says, what you have discerned with respect to the self, you must extend their thoughts to everything. When you realize the merely inputted, I am merely inputted by my conceptualization, then the rest of the thing, you can see everything is same. But the conventional phenomena, we cannot apply, say everything is same. Right? Therefore, first you reflect on your own I. And in the noble condensed perfection of wisdom, it says, just as with the self, understand all sentient beings, just as with the sentient being, understand at all phenomena. That means, first you need to understand how you or yourself exist. The same idea you can extend to the all sentient being. Then third, you extend to all phenomena. Just as with the self, understand all sentient beings. Just as with the sentient beings, understand all phenomena.
The precious guardian says this clearly in the following. Since the person is composed of 6 elements, it has no absolute existence. And likewise, since each of the element is in turn composite, they too have no absolute existence. That means me depends on the 6 elements. Mean there's no absolute me. Then the 6 elements also depend on each other. Therefore, the 6 element is also not exist absolutely. Therefore, first you think how I exist on the 5 aggregates, how 5 aggregates exist, then the form, how the form exists, 6 elements, study each of the 6 elements. The point of the first line is to start the reason, because person is designated independence on the collection of the 6 elements. Aggregates in dependence on the collection of the 6 elements. The point of the third line and the 4th line is to start that since it is impossible for something not to consist of the part and the bearer of the parts, each element is in turn designated in dependence of the collection of the many constitutive part. Therefore, they do not exist on the level of absolute reality or by virtues of their own essence. Furthermore, if they are designated independence on the collection of their constitutive parts, neither the parts nor the barrier of the part can be things itself. Yet something of the different entity, or they cannot be the thing either. So this line is very difficult to understand. Also, very important point. If they are designated in dependence on the in the collection of their constitutive parts, neither the parts nor the barrier of the parts can be the thing itself. Now, easy one, we just go to the example for the cup. Like cup. Yes, also we are not denying the cup, we accept the cup. Then the cup, how the cup exists. Here, if this cup is designated in dependence on the collection of their constituent parts, neither the parts, mean the handle, the side, the bottom, the upper, the inner, all the parts nor the barrier of the parts can be the cup. That means all the parts of the cup cannot be the cup. Then all the collection of the parts also not the cup. The cup and the parts. The cup and the parts of the barrier are, like a different kind, or not totally different, it's a 3 different phenomena. Likewise, me, in merely designated in dependence on the 5 aggregates and the parts of the 5 aggregates. Then all the parts of the 5 aggregates are not me, because me designated based on the all parts of five aggregates. Also, all the collection, the collective, the things of the five aggregates are not me, because me designated based on the collective things together. That means me and the five aggregates are not totally two different entities, but this me and my five aggregates are true. True. Therefore, five aggregates never be me, because me established or designated based on the five aggregates. All the parts cannot be me, because I am designated based on all parts of the five aggregates. So when you think this way, then you will, I hope you will understand. That means, when we say car, right? A car, think about a car. All the car is, designated, inputted based on what? Based on all the parts of the car, the wheel, the steering, the engine, the top or bottom, all the parts designated based on all the parts. This means all the parts are not a car, because the car designated or established based on the parts. Then all the parts collection, all the collective, phenomena of the parts are not a car, because car is designated based on all the collective parts. That means the car is merely designated based on this thing, right? These are quite easy to understand. Now difficult is coming later here, I think so here. Remember this one, I said, just for this reason, and because there is not even a slightest entity that is distinct from the aggregates, whether in terms of the parts or their barrier, they can be taken to the basis of I. Right? This means this is the actual meaning. The analogy is like a parts and whole. The last sentence I read. Furthermore, if they are, mean the I, me, they are designated in dependence on the collection of their constitutive parts. Neither the parts nor the bearer of the parts can be the thing itself. Doesn't matter, book, table, cup, house, car, whatsoever, the parts and that the barrier of the parts never be the thing itself. Yet, something of different entity from this cannot be the things either. Yet something of the different entity from this cannot be the thing either. Now, insofar as the way was and so on are conceptually posited. Now, insofar as the way was and so on are conceptually posited, they are, in the respect the latter example similar to the snake inputted on the basis of the rope. Now, remember two things here. The vast, like a cup, pot, is in one hand. In other hand, the snake, the snake inputted on the basis of the rope. That means in your hand you have a real cup, in your other hand you have a fake snake.
real cup and fake snake. Both of them, the cup, the fake snake, both of them equally, same way inputted phenomena, inputted by the conceptual thoughts. As you think, all of them, these two is equal to be inputted phenomena, inputted by the conceptualization. Remember these two together. Next, however, between the was and so on the one hand, and the rope snake on the other, the two cases are entirely different. When it comes to these two cases are entirely different when it comes to the whether they exist, right? Equally inputted. When it's come to become different, whether they exist, whether they are capable for effective function, and so on. That means in this hand I have a cup. On this hand we have the fake snake. Both of them equally inputted phenomena. These two cases are entirely different when it comes to whether they exist. The cup in my hand is existent phenomena. Based on the rope, the coil snake is no exist at all. Because when it comes to the case of the existent, totally different. Second one, whether they are capable of effective function. A cup has a capable of effective function as holding a water, holding as a juice, capable function, capable of effective function. When you come to the function in my hand, this hand, on the left hand, I have a snake. The snake based on the coil rope, but it doesn't have an effective function, and so on. That means whether it exists or not exists, totally different. Whether they are capable of effective function or not is totally different. Then how come both of them equally inputted? The one has a function, one does have a function. One exists, other doesn't exist. How come? Now look carefully here. This is because there's a clear distinction between the two in whether there are convention remain essential for everyday transaction, and whether their usage of such as convention susceptibility to invalidation. The everyday transition remain tenable in the world posited through the conceptualization. Conceptualization represent among the common total. Right now you can see these two is totally distinct, different in here. Distinct between these two, whether their convention remain essential of the everyday transition, and whether the usage of the such as conventional is susceptibility. Well, I'm not sure. I already read. I forgot. Susceptible, right? Anyway, so all of you can see in the dictionary. This page is, very precise explanation. The differences between the fake snake and the cup. How both of them equally inputted phenomena, but exist or not, have an effective function or not. Also, is conventionally one is a cup, conventionally one is not snake.
Then there's a three master talking here. The word and meaning of the Madhyamaka treatise as a unique tradition of the interpreting the noble Nagarjuna and his son by the three master, Buddhapalita, Shantideva, and the master Chandrakirti. This issue of how everyday translation remains possible in the world posited through the conception is indeed the most difficult point of the final view of middle way. That means, so also later you can see Lama Tsongkhapa mention, based on merely designation, able to establish the effective functional is most difficult. That means you can see the cup is merely designated. The snake based on the coil rope also merely designated. Now we need to learn based on merely designated, the phenomena has the effective function like a cup or fire, whatever. That means you can just, now we can imagine the fire and the water. Both are merely designated phenomena. The water is merely designated, the water also merely designated. Then why not the fire is water? Why not the water is not fire? Fire. Then now we need to think the effective function. Yes, the water is merely designated, but the water cannot be a fire because it doesn't have the effective function to cook and burn. This means now we need to think from the conventional side, how thing has a function. This means what here you simply we need to think, what we should think. Let's say before like a human being, there was a water, or there's a fire or not. Was there fire? Was there water? Something there's a, is running. Something can burn things. But this phenomena has a very unique function. But until we designate it, until we name, oh, this, things become made moisture, water. This thing which is can burn everything, fire. Doesn't mean the things become fire, the things become water. It depends on us. It has a function or not. It not depend on us. Each of the phenomena has a different function. Different thing has a different function. The unique function also not exists by their own rights. There has a unique function because they have a unique, causes and condition. Due to the unique cause condition, there's a unique function. Right? If we think this way, then also we can say everything merely designated phenomena. And also for you, I said, you please, read few times about the Swatantika school view. Then page number, I will give you homework. I didn't give you homework for, I think, almost 2 years. From the page number 181,
Geshe, can you also read the title of the 181?
Huh?
Can you read the title of the 181? Because my page number is, my Mandarin page number is not the same. So I can't find 181 in the Mandarin text. If you read the title, then I can translate the title to them.
1 second, I will give you, I think, I'll give you guys a very little small homework. Yeah, the page number 181, identifying the grasping a true existence according to the Pasangika Madhyamaka standpoint. Then page number 189, beginning of the refuting arising from self and other. So altogether, the most crucial, important homework you need to do, page number 171, which is identifying the object of negation. The way the suggestness-dependent organization explained, mean the Swatantika, then all the way to the refuting, the arising from self and other. It is only, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, only 10 pages. Please, everybody, read slowly with your patient mind. Read slowly and try to memorize the meaning or the words and think. And move next sentence. Read few times. And try to digest the meaning and try to memorize the words. So these 10 pages are very, 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 very important. It is summarized, so many, the Madhyamaka's view is summarized in these few pages. Okay, then we can stop today's class here. Is there any question? We have 10 minutes.
Dear Dharma friends, if you have questions, you may raise your hand or you can type it in the chat. Anyone have any questions?
Okay, why not we can ask one, few suggestions from you guys. Shall I go more slower or more faster? Which is better? Slower or faster is, what do you think? Is too slow or too faster? Number one.
Slower, Geshe.
Slower.
Geshe, students have advised that you have been too fast.
You
have been too fast.
Okay. Then need a like lot of repeat explanation or few times is okay. Of course, repetition.
Repetition, right. Yes, Geshe. A student advised, please repeat.
Okay. Also, yes, you give me 2 suggestions, a bit slower, repeat again and again. Yeah, I will have 2 suggestions for you.
Yeah, Geshe, there's also a suggestions.
Okay.
Can Geshe please give more examples? More examples.
Yeah.
Thank you, Geshe.
I will use more example. And for 4 suggestions, for 2 suggestions for you, read more, think more, and memorize certain stanza, which is you believe, oh, this stanza is very suit for me, then you immediately you memorize. Okay, so we can stop here. And thank you so much for attending the class. The class is very important. It's really important. I'm not just saying important, very important. Please continue to study. Also, every day, before the class started, so we have the chanting or from the stanza from the 5 treatises, then taking refuge, then bodhicitta. Sometimes we read the 3 principal aspects of 3 principles. Sometimes we read
we chant the foundation of good quality. So while you are chanting, please make sure you go through the practice. We should not chant or the chanting, singing like a child. When the child sings song, they just sing song. They don't know anything. They don't have any feeling. We must chant with the knowing the meaning. At the same time, you do practice. May the merit of speaking about the excellent tradition of the Master Nagarjuna extend to the edges of the space itself. May such as merits shine bright as an atom star among the mind's sky, darkness by afflictions. And through the force of having obtained merit, resembling a shining gem on a represent serpent's hood. May the entire world realize suchness and swiftly travel to the Sugata's groan. Altogether, we dedicate all our merit for realizing emptiness ourselves, realizing all sentient beings' emptiness. Through realizing emptiness, we ourselves can easily travel to Buddhahood. Rest of the sentient being can easily travel to the Buddha land. Lobe lundo lozanya la dage sunam chogi ta kyabji yiga nyumo yuga tongge yuga semgyu tula denga nambu tandra kanji tabate jiren malu tingi doni nyurdo deshe sarngu sho. Thank you so much and have a happy Saturday. Thank you.